Hey, this is Matthew, and welcome back to Nerd News Today, and it's time for another action figure review. Now, just recently, I have gotten into Netflix's Castlevania anime series. It took me a little bit longer than it should have, but I'm now finally into the show. I'm now about halfway into Season 2, in fact, so I know I've got one more season right now to deal with, and hopefully there's plenty more on the way, because I'm really digging it. And I guess Diamond Select just happened to know that I was doing that because they were kind enough to send us what we're looking at today in this episode. Today we're taking a look at Diamond Select's Castlevania Series 2 action figure line. So Series 1 was all about the good guys, but this time around it's all about the baddies. So we've got Dracula, we have Carmilla, and we have Godbrand here in Series 2. And you might notice that there's something different about this series as opposed to what you've seen if you looked at Series 1 anywhere. So I remember seeing Series 1, and I think you can still find it actually in a lot of GameStop stores in particular, and they have it in a much larger style package. You'll notice today it's in the smaller size here, and that's typically been seen at Walgreens. So based on what we saw with the Avatar The Last Airbender series and their second wave of figures, it looks like that some Diamond's figures are now going to be coming in this style of packaging all across the board. Previously, Diamond was basically doing a Diamond Direct version, which was the much bigger packaging with usually a few other accessories, and they'd have this smaller size here for the Walgreens exclusives. But it would appear that it's now full steam ahead with this size of packaging, and I gotta tell you guys, I actually prefer this type of box. I've always felt that Diamond boxes have been very unruly, very large, and kind of just out of place compared to everything else that people collect. This time around, though, we're getting closer to the Marvel Legends size of packaging, which I think is a plus. It's more manageable, less space is used up here, and that's really good for both collectors and people who own small comic stores and things like that. So definitely a step in the right direction for the boxes. But hopefully they are doing more economical packaging for everything in the near future. As for the boxes, though, you can see we've got a very big window display on the front, so you can see exactly what's going on the inside. There are no windows on the side of any of the figures. We just get a picture of Dracula's castle on one side, and an illustration of Dracula on the other. And the back of each box shows us who else is in the wave, as well as the figure that's represented in this package. No bios, no frills, no nothing, but it does tell us who designed and sculpted these figures, and in this case, this series has been designed by Eamon O'Donoghue and sculpted by Richard Force. So I'm really into this new packaging that Diamond is doing. This is all cool, but I'm not a mint on card collector, I'm a loose collector. So let's go ahead and get all these Castlevania figures out of the box and take a closer look at them. And by the way, I just wanted to show you guys as well real quick here. This is now how the figures are packaged inside those boxes. So it's actually now like they're doing with the sculptures, like they've been doing with their PVC sculptures. It's now two separate pieces of plastic. You basically open it up like this, like it's a sandwich, I guess. Out comes your figure and all of the accessories. So very collector friendly, even more than their statues are. You know, previously their action figures you couldn't put back in the boxes. Now you can. So that's really great. And here's our Castlevania Series 2 figures, now all out of the box, all three of the characters from Series 2. So starting with Dracula, Carmilla, and Godbrand. And just so you guys can know as well, I'm not going to show off all of the hands today, but I can tell you guys that Dracula has one additional set of hands, Carmilla has an additional set of hands, and Godbrand has two additional sets of hands. In fact, I've actually got Dracula's spare hands over here. Just wanted to take a few out to show you guys what it looks like. I've done the hands before on a lot of other characters, and I'm not going to show you guys today how to swap the hands out, because, well, I've done it in plenty of other Diamond Select toy videos, and to be quite honest, all of these hands have really sharp claws. They're not screwing around with these claws here, so I'm not going to mess with that. I don't want to get punctured, because, yeah, they're that sharp. So big points for making them quite realistic in that sense of being like actual vampires. So, yeah, I'm going to spare myself the pain and not do that. But let's go ahead and start talking about, number one, the likeness of all these figures. Do these look like their cartoon counterparts? And I would have to say a definite yes as I straighten out Carmilla's torso there a little bit. Yeah, I think they really absolutely captured the looks of the cartoons. I'm actually shocked how good they look. And I should add as well that each character in this series comes with one additional head sculpt, and they're all slightly different. I'm going to show you guys, in fact, Drax with a head sculpt right here with his teeth bared. Carmilla's as well, same thing with her teeth bared, doing that devilish smile that she does so often in the show. And Godbrand also, just showing off his teeth and being quite angry. So that's really cool that you get kind of a more subdued head and also more of an angry head. And I'm going to show you guys how the heads pop off, because I think that is a little bit easier to do than dealing with the claws. So there you go. You can see it's a ball-jointed head. We'll slide it right into place. Boom. Super easy. There you go. That's how it looks. Really easy to do that. So all the head sculpts top-notch. I have zero complaints about them. I think the paint job is also very smooth on all these guys here. It's really tough to take something from 2D to 3D, but luckily because the cartoon in particular is just so good and so three-dimensional in a lot of ways too, yeah, it was very easy to translate a lot of those elements, and you can really see it here. Like, these would look really good with some fancy figure photography, which we're not going to do here today, of course, because we're just talking about the figures, but yeah, no, they've got all the dimensions, all the angles, cheekbones, the eyes. Like, yeah, they've completely captured it. Definitely some of their best likenesses for a cartoon that they've ever done with Diamond, and I'll go so far as to say they're actually better than the Avatar ones that we liked a lot too. Now, in terms of articulation, the box says that each figure has 16 points approximately of articulation. I'm going to say, though, that it's pretty clear you guys can see that there's going to be a lot of missing joints just because of how the costumes are. Dracula's cape is going to cut off that left arm entirely. His legs are pretty much not usable whatsoever. Carmilla, same thing. Her leg joints gone because this dress takes up all of that space. And Godbrand, again, he's got this big war skirt here, so you're not going to get much articulation in the legs at all. So yeah, you're going to basically get, for the most part, head and shoulder. Elbow joints are nice. And you'll get moving wrists, the torso moves, and you can see the waist moves on these as well. So yeah, you're not going to get a ton of movement on them, but I don't really think you need to get a ton of movement on them either. They're not like that action-packed. But I wouldn't mind a little more articulation with Dracula, let's say, just because you guys can see how his legs are here. They're kind of in a funny position, and I think without that cape, he'd be falling over. But to be completely honest, that cape is what's keeping him up right now. It's so big and so top-heavy. I think, maybe not, actually. I mean, there's definitely, okay, there's a little bit, that cape is doing all the work. You guys can definitely see here that this cape is doing all the work to keep Dracula standing up. His legs are just worthless to him, but that's Dracula. He floats. That's fine. And same thing with Carmilla. I mean, yeah, you can see it's the back of her skirt that is just completely keeping her in balance and in check. Godbrand, though, standing up fine on his own. So yeah, articulation, you know, it's almost like a non-factor with these figures, but they can do the bare minimum, and that's probably all you're going to really want with most of these characters anyway. These aren't exactly, you know, we're not talking like Trevor or Alucard who need to have a little more action in them. These guys are more or less fine the way they are. I do want to show you guys the back of Drax's cape too, though. You guys can see that, and also Carmilla's gown. Like, these are really cool. I always love good fancy capes and gowns and fabric and that kind of thing, and these look really good, very realistic. So let's talk about accessories, because they've got a lot. So we already discussed how each one of them have some spare hands. Each one has an additional head sculpt. Beyond that, Dracula has this lovely candelabra. I feel like we're doing an episode of The Price is Right now. But yeah, Drac has this nice candelabra. It comes with 2 pieces, which will attach just like this. They come packaged in separate pieces, but yeah, you just interconnect them like that. And that's more or less it. Yeah, there you go. That's the candelabra. I'll put that over here in between Carmilla. It's a very nice candle, too. It looks really, really great. Carmilla comes with, besides the hands, nothing except for a base, which she doesn't really need. But it's nice that they included it there, I guess. Let's go ahead and you can see the bottom of her feet there. Her shoes have peg holes. So I'm going to put her on this, but you guys have seen this whole video. She hasn't been on the base, hasn't needed it. And I don't know why she's the only figure that has a base. But that's how it looks. I mean, yeah, that's fine. She doesn't need it, but there it is. And Godbrand is the one that has really the most. He comes with an axe and a sword. And he does come with hands that were actually meant for these weapons. I know I said before I wasn't going to swap hands, but I think I have to at least get one of his accessories in just to show you how that looks. So, all right, here we go with an open hand so we could hold. Let's try the sword. That should be fine. Boom, sword. All right, that's how that looks. And let's try the axe as well. There's the axe. His hands are a little petite, maybe is the word, a little dainty, I guess. I don't know. They're not like super duper thick action figure hands like you might be used to getting with other toys. They're a little bit more realistic, and because they're the vampires and they have these slender figures, it makes the way they hold their weapons maybe not the best if you're going to do it like this. But if you were to pose it maybe a little more dramatically, like maybe he's, we'll put the sword back into his hand, maybe he's doing something like holding it. You know, unfortunately, they don't have bicep articulation, so that would have helped these guys look maybe a little bit better in terms of doing neat poses. But I think that works actually all right. Let's put this candelabra behind Dracula, set the mood. So that's kind of the nice thing about these figures too, is that while the accessories are kind of minimal here, they're pretty great for figure photography in particular. How often are you going to get a candelabra to work with? So I think what they come with is pretty solid. Now, unfortunately, I don't have Series 1 here to compare them with, but hopefully I'll get Series 1 at some point. So yeah, we're going to ultimately be doing these reviews backwards. But Series 2 is pretty darn great. The only real flaw I could see here is not one that's Diamond's fault necessarily. It's that their costumes for pretty much all of these characters do not give them the greatest articulation. Like if you can see here with Drac, can't do anything with his legs, and one of his arms is completely gone because he's got the cape on it. Carmilla's legs are completely covered. Godbrand's legs are also more or less completely covered. And the articulation is not on the level of, let's say, WWE Elite figure, which usually has like over 20-something points for articulation. So you're not going to get necessarily the most dynamic poses, but none of these characters really do anything that's that dynamic either, let's be quite fair. Really, Godbrand's the only guy that's going to be doing that much of a crazy thing, but I still think you can accomplish some decent poses even just the way he is with his limited articulation. You'll just have to be a little bit more creative. But in terms of likeness, color, everything here with the sculpt, the design, like these absolutely look like the cartoon versions of them, and that's what I want the most with these figures. So if you've been enjoying Castlevania on Netflix and you're trying to figure out what to get in terms of collecting some stuff, I think the figures are absolutely great to have. I think they're very overlooked. Now, I feel like a lot of Diamond's figures tend to be overlooked in general by a lot of collectors for whatever reason, but this Castlevania line is very strong, totally worth getting, totally worth picking up. So yeah, if you've got a video game fan in your life, I would recommend you get these for them as soon as you can. And not that long ago, we also reviewed a Trevor Belmont PVC statue from Diamond, which I think is one of the best they've done this year as well. So if you want to get some really nice merch from the Castlevania series, you got to go to Diamond Select because they're doing the figures, they're doing the statues, and they're all pretty affordable here. The PVC statue is $50. I think these figures are $20 or $25 for each one of them, I think, something in that range, maybe a little bit more depending where you get them from. But they're not that expensive. They're really excellent quality. I definitely give these guys a recommend. I give them 2 fangs up, as in, or maybe 2, or is that 2 fangs in someone's neck? I don't really know. Either way, give them a good review. So yeah, go ahead and check these guys out. And if you like them too and you want to get some for yourself, why not use our Amazon affiliate links? We're going to have links to all these figures in the description for the video, as well as the PVC statue. So if you want to take a look at those and order them using our Amazon affiliate link, please feel free to. It helps our channel and costs you guys nothing extra. So that is our Castlevania Series 2 from Diamond Select. Excellent figures, very nice, great work, and hopefully the line continues because there's definitely a few more things they could be doing. So we'll have to just stay tuned for that. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today, and what a horrible night to have a curse.